guys, and welcome to the Lead Well Book Club this week, and I have an absolute cracker of a book for you. I absolutely love it. It is Greenlights, and it's by Matthew McConaughey. And I know anyone that knows me will know that I do love Matthew McConaughey, but this is an unbiased review separate to his acting career. This is a really, really good book. Before we get into some of the gems in the book, here are 3 key takeaways. Number 1, Matthew hates the word impossible. He said it's an insult to us all. Why don't we start using other words like incredible, phenomenal? Did I say that word right? I always say that word wrong. You know what I mean. There's other fantastic words, but the word impossible, let's scratch that. Everything is possible. Number 2, a roof is a man-made thing. We are the fools that set our own self-limiting beliefs. Why do we do that? Number 3, don't walk into a place like you want to buy it. Walk into a place like you want to own it. I love that line so much. So yeah, as you can see, I'm very excited about this book, and I'm standing up, and I'm usually sitting down for my Lead Well Book Club, but I just want to show my enthusiasm for this book because it really is a cracker. It's a great book. Matthew does warn us that it's not a self-help book, it's not a business book, but I would argue, Matthew, that it is both. Okay, let me show you a few gems in the book that I just absolutely loved. And I'm going to warn you, there is a few moments in the book where I'm like, oh my God, Matthew, did you really just say that to the whole entire world? But you know what? When a reader is really transparent and vulnerable and truthful and tells some of the most intimate details of their lives, you just trust them so much more. You want to know more. You know that they have something of value to give to you. And I think that is what happens within this book. I really, really do. So there's lots of amazing stories in the book, and some you would just be like, I cannot believe that happened. I cannot believe he did that. There's just a whole other dimension to the actor that I guess you would never know unless you read the book, or you would never think, because I guess we all just kind of look at people often on a surface level, which is always the wrong thing to do, but we're human and we all tend to do that unless we become more self-aware about that. So one of the stories that I do love that he tells within the book is he goes to the Monastery of Christ in the desert, and it's in New Mexico, and he goes there at a time when he feels very, very lost. He feels like he lost his purpose. He feels like he's lost, his direction. And he talks for hours and hours and hours. I can't remember the exact time, but I think it was like a day and a half. I honestly can't remember now. But he talked for a very long time to this monk called Brother Christian. And he tells him everything, and, he pours his heart out. And the monk just patiently listens and wanders by his side through the desert. And then at the very, very end, just when, he feels like he's finished talking, Matthew turns to Brother Christian and he kind of looks at him for a response, an answer, something. And Brother Christian says, me too. And, sometimes we just don't need advice. Sometimes we just need to hear we're not the only one. So that's what Matthew put in the book. And I think it's really powerful because we don't always need to hear, this grand piece of advice or direction. Sometimes we just need to know that we're not in it alone. Some of our crazy thoughts that go on in our minds, we're not the only ones. So I really, really liked that piece. He has some just unbelievable stories, and I love how he writes. I'm just going to read another few lines that I highlighted here, and I also posted this one on LinkedIn. But I believe the truth is all around us all the time. The anonymous angels, the butterflies, the answers are always right there, but we don't always identify, grasp, hear, see, or access them because we're not in the right place to. We have to make a plan. And I think this is so true because sometimes we're just not aware enough yet, or we're not ready. We're fully aware, or God is telling us something, but we're just not ready yet. We're not there yet. We need to make a plan. So I thought that was also a great gem within the book and something to remember in life and in business. Here's another one I highlighted, another 2-liner that I think is a cracker of a line to remember. So some people look for an excuse to do, others look for an excuse not to. Which one will you be? I'm asking that. He doesn't put that in the book, but really, really think about that one because I think that's also true for many of us. He also tells a really, really lovely story about a baseball coach. Yeah, it was a baseball coach. And basically just how he taught him a lot about leadership and the way forward and how to lead. And also he puts across this significant message of you can turn the page. You can turn the page at any stage of your life, no matter what feeling. It's up to you when you want to turn the page. And I think a lot of us think that everybody's looking at our feelings, and they're not. They're really not. At any stage we can decide to turn the page. So here's another one-liner from the book I want you to remember is great leaders are not always in front. They also know who to follow. So I'll let you read it for yourself, that little story too about the coach who taught him great leadership skills also. Guys, there's so much in this book that I'd like to call out, but I don't want to give it all away. I think you really, really need to give this book a read. It's a gem. It's a gem of a book. Well, I'll just finish with this. I always wrote things down so I could forget. And I can really relate to that because I think that's something I definitely do. You know, even when you're overwhelmed in your mind and things have got a bit too much, just scribble lots of things down, especially before going to sleep. Empty the bucket, down on a page, everything's going to be all right. So the book is all about catching green lights. So, going ahead, getting that conviction and kind of recognition or sign or signals that, yes, we're on the right path, let's go ahead. And obviously, we all want to catch as many green lights as we possible, but also deal with the red and the amber as they come to. I'm going to leave it there, folks, because I'm talking too much as always, but love this book.